LSETF was established in 2016 and essentially was established to tackle and enable job creation in Lagos State. And what we realized is that MSME plays a significant role in creating jobs. They account for at least 80% of jobs in Nigeria and almost 50% of our GDP. So for us, what we realized was in order for us to be able to create jobs, and we already know that MSMEs are those that actually create this job, we thought it was best to also support MSMEs. And by supporting MSMEs, we launched with our access to finance program. We provide affordable loans to businesses across various categories, from nano to micro enterprise startup to micro enterprise and small medium enterprise for the maximum of 5 million. And we also train youths across several sectors, 3 months training and maximum of 3 months internship, paid internship. At LSETF as well, we also do grants. We give grants to businesses. And I'm going to talk a bit more about that during this, the questions and answers.
Thank you very much, Mark, for that introduction. Thank you for enlightening us. First, I would like to pinpoint on, you talked about affordable loans. So like, how do people assess that, and what criteria do they have to meet them to be eligible?
So at LSETF, when I mean affordable loans, our loans are single-digit loans. So the interest rate is at 9%. And as I've mentioned already, these loans are provided to across various categories. If you go on our website or on loans.lsetf.ng. So for a nano loan, the maximum you can access is 100,000 naira. And all you need to do is you have to have a BVN, your BVN, you have to be a taxpayer, and you must also register with LASRA. LASRA is the Lagos State Residence Agency. Those are the major requirements. And then, of course, we also require you have to have a guarantor. And for nano, your guarantor it's okay to have a traditional ruler, level 16 civil servant. Now, for micro enterprise startup, that is designed for youths that just qualified the vocational training. So you just finished some form of training and you want to start your business. The maximum you can get is 250,000 naira, but also you must have your BVN, you must have your tax ID, and you must also have LASRA available. Because you're just starting a business, we don't ask for your bank statement, and you also get a 1-month moratorium period. For micro enterprise, the maximum is 500,000 naira. In this case, in addition to all the requirements I mentioned, you will need maximum of 3 months bank statement from your bank. SME, you would have to be registered with CAC for at least 1 year. So that means you would have to bring your CAC documents, your BVN, your LASRA, and your tax ID in order to access 5 million, maximum of 5 million naira for 24 months tenure at 9% interest rate. Again, it's important to note that our jurisdiction is just Lagos State. So all this is provided for businesses in Lagos, which is why we ask you to have a LASRA. You have to register with LASRA.
Okay, thank you very much. So now for all of this, they can access everything from the website.
Yes, you can go to loans.lsetf.ng. It's all on there. LASRA has also been simplified. You can actually register for LASRA online. And it's also important I mention that Lagos State Employment Trust Fund has liaison offices in all the 20 local governments. So all the 20 local governments across Lagos State and some LCDAs, you would go in there and you'll be able to find a liaison officer from LSETF, and they can also help with your application because the applications are automated from start to finish. So those that would say that maybe they're not computer literate, or they don't have computers, or they can't use their smartphones, we have officers, all the local government offices, they will help you with the application process, help with your LASRA, Also, LRS has been simplified. You can also start that online too.
Okay, thank you very much. So after this application, is there like a duration in the way you have to get feedback?
Yes, of course. So the duration is, once again, like I said, is automated. And we did internally, it will take us at least 2 to 3 weeks to, approve get to the point of approval. However, you would also, at some point, we have something we call BTSPs. These are partners that will visit these businesses to confirm that what you said indeed is what you do. If you say you sell Coke or Coca-Cola or you're into retail, you will confirm your stock, you will ask you questions. So we do that, you apply, they go and visit you, they come back with their report, we approve internally. That should take at least maximum of 3 weeks. Before it used to take longer periods, but we've been able to collapse this successfully. But what we find is the issue now no longer with us, it's also now with the potential beneficiaries. Because at the point when we approve your loans, we expect that you come back with your guarantors, you come back with the documents, hard copy documents. This, for some people, takes a while. And it's also important to mention that we expect that you pay at least 5% equity contribution of your loan, which will be returned back to you after you've completed the payment period. Some people find that also challenging, or some people find it difficult to get guarantors. So that might prolong the process for the disbursement. But within the organization, when it's within my own control, it takes maximum of 3 months. Now the rest is in the hands of the potential beneficiary.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So you said something in between, you said verifying the businesses. So what does that process look like? And is there a possibility that by verifying the businesses, what of on the loan, versus not meeting the criteria? While you verify those businesses, what are you looking at?
So it's simple. If you're applying for a loan and you're a business owner, you said to me that, okay, you own a shop and you sell, I think your stock is what, 5 million or 10 million, your savings, you mentioned your savings, your monthly turnover, you've told me that you're a registered company, you've given me the location of your business. What our BDSPs do, or as they say, they call them KYC officers and banks, I believe. What they do is they will visit that business. They would ensure that the address you provided is you actually are at that address. Sometimes they speak to your neighbors or your other businesses, the other businesses around you. They verify, they look in your store to ensure that you have the stock. They ask you several questions to confirm what you put in your application process, like your turnover and your savings. Sometimes they will also ask for proof. For those that say they already have their tax ID, they will ask you to show the receipt of that. They will ask you to show your LASRA as well. Once they confirm all of this, they will send back a report to LSETF and they will continue the process internally.
Okay, thank you very much. So I have this question. What if the business is having a hack and then they fall short of the initial number, so their projection which they wanted to get to with the loan, they couldn't reach it? So how do you handle that?
Are you talking about for the application process or for the payment?
During the verification of the business, so you get feedback and you see that business is falling short of something. There are metrics that they have to keep going on to make.
So at this point, you're already taking a loan, right? So we obviously expect you to pay back the money because it's within a specific period. There are several things you can do. One of the things I would say that I know that our recovery officers, which fall under the risk unit, you can discuss with them, and if you can prove that you're going to it before time, they might be able to give you like a moratorium period. They might be. We did that during COVID. However, what we also do is a lot of the time, what I've seen and I've experienced is that a lot of people have different issues. What we usually do is we connect them with our business support services, so they help them with their capacity development, exactly why are they facing the challenges they're facing. However, because it's a loan, we still expect to get our money back. Let's just clarify that now. And that's why we also have grants. So if you're applying for a grant is money that is given to you, we don't expect you to pay that back. But always remember that grant is for a specific purpose. So the grant of LSETF, we have 2 grants, right? The first one is the grant that was introduced or announced by Mr. Governor after NSAS, and that we're able to give grants to over 1,897 businesses in Lagos State. And of course, if you're saying that your business was impacted during NSAS, they destroyed your stores, we went to visit all these businesses. We ensured that what you said, we didn't believe just the pictures that were shared. We actually went ahead to send our businesses to confirm what you said. Due to the success of that grant, Mr. Governor announced 2.0, which was for businesses that were impacted by COVID. That we got over 10,000, in fact, over 15,000 applications. We had to shut down our system because we almost crashed our system. But as of today, we've been able to successfully give grants to over 2,500 businesses, and it's counting as of today. Then we also have a grant that we're doing with the World Bank. So World Bank is funding this one, and it's called the CARES program. I'm not sure if you've all heard of the CARES. CARES stands for COVID, Action, Recovery, Economic Stimulus, and that has 3 major grants. You have to follow that, whether it's credit grant, operation grant, or IT enhancement grant. What does that mean? It means, number one, credit grant is those, if you can show that you took a loan before COVID. For Nigeria, I think COVID is we commenced for us from March 1st, 2020. That's what we say. So if you can prove that you took any loan, right, from by March 1st, 2020, we pay back 40% of that loan for you. Or if you can prove that your business suffered any form of operational loss, you could pay your rent, your salaries, you also have to show that proof. They will pay 50% of that. And then IT enhancement grant, that is not money. That is, we help you upgrade your solution, your digital solutions, because we realize that most of the businesses that strike during COVID were IT or technology companies.
All right, thank you very much. I think we had a quick poll when you asked how many people had heard about the LSETF, and I think there were just a few hands raised up. Maybe we could try again, please. Before now, how many of you here have heard about the LSETF? All right, and I know that your vision is to create employment and entrepreneurship for all the residents of Lagos State. So, going by the number of hands raised up, I can tell that it's still a far journey ahead. So, what is the LSETF doing to enable sensitization, bringing people to the know of all of these opportunities? Beyond programs like this, you know.
So well, what we do is, I know we have a very, very active social media across all the social media pages. So from our Facebook to our Instagram to LinkedIn, across all the social media. And I would say that it's important for us to also follow any of our pages, because I can guarantee you that there are loads of programs that go on. So apart from the loans, there are also a lot of capacity development. Even I am still learning from a lot of the masterclass experts we're constantly inviting. There's free legal clinic if you have any legal issues. One of our partners actually is one of the law firms that started my business, which is one of the leading law firms in Nigeria, Templars, and they don't charge. Trust me, I worked there for over 5 years. You can't get Templars for cheap cost, and they are one of our partners, and they are offering free legal advices to businesses in Lagos State. HR clinics, we have HR clinics. All this run practically every other week. We are also on radio stations as well. There's always a program on like 3 different radio stations. Don't get me wrong, we can definitely do more. And this is one of the things we're going to be talking about in our strategy for next year, in reaching our target audience. But I would say that right now, our website, our social media, we're constantly involved in almost any MSME programs going on to talk. So, but there's still room for improvement, and we continue to try our best.
We love to hear that. Okay, so please, I would like you to just inform them on the website, your Instagram pages. I'm sure some people here will quickly follow up on your pages.
Can
So
just
our website is www.lsetf.ng. If you want to apply directly for loans, you go to loans.lsetf.ng. All our handles, I believe, is LSETF at LSETF. All the handles on social media.
Are they verified? Do they have a blue tick?
Yeah.
Or is there an verification?
Yes, they're verified. Verified, and I know that we try as much as possible to also respond to questions as well.
That's impressive. All right. I mean, there's no gainsaying that the MSMEs, at the engines of every developing nation. Now, in the face of rising domestic interest rates, I mean, just recently we heard that the CBN had increased the interest rates to about 15% from 14.5%. And while you were talking, you mentioned 9%. So I want to ask if it remains at 9% and how does, if it doesn't, I mean, what is the survival rate of the MSMEs going with the increasing rate of interest?
Well, what I would say is I do not foresee us increasing our interest rate. Although when we started or launched this business,
I think we can applaud them. We can take that to the bank.
Yes, I don't think that will be happening soon because, like I said, and when I started talking, emphasis on affordable loans. We understand and we know how much it costs to get loans from any financial institution or even microfinance banks. In Nigeria, this what you're paying annually at LSETF is what you pay monthly or more at the microfinance bank or financial institution. And for us at LSETF, we understand one of the major things we're doing is we're targeting those people that we know cannot access those kind of loans, those businesses that we cannot afford to take a loan at 20-25% interest rate. So we try as much as possible to stay at single digits. As a matter of fact, we have some loans that are 6%. So one of the programs we do for lead tourism, any business that falls in the tourism sector, there was funding that Mr. Governor put towards that was also impacted during COVID. The interest rate for that is 6%. So we can try. I can't guarantee, and I don't know what the future holds. But so far, because of what we stand for, what we're trying to achieve at LSETF, I don't see us going double digit anytime soon.
All right, we hope so too. Okay, so in terms of employment, I know you have quite a lot of credible partners. So does the LSETF assist residents to gain employment, to get job placements in the partnering organizations?
Yes, so we do that, and that's why I spoke really fast about our employability program. So it's very important to also state here that we enable job creation. LSETF does not create jobs. We enable it. And how do we enable it? I just mentioned that we support MSMEs to expand, to upskill so they can create more jobs. So for employability, when you talk about placement, that project was launched in 2020, and we do that in partnership with UNDP and USADF. What we do is we train the youth from ages 18 to 45 across several sectors, and we are constantly doing industry engagement to know where the demand is. So we are not just training youth and we don't have jobs to put them in, right? So we train them from construction to digital marketing to garment making, and the point is that training will go on for a maximum of 3 months, and then we get a placement, paid internship for at least 60% of them. Some of them that want to go through the entrepreneurship route, we get startup toolkit for that as well. And the point is, we hope that you get retained in some of these jobs. We have some of our workers that have started successful businesses today. We have some people that have also been featured on CNN with things that one of the construction companies is working on. So it's up to you to also prove yourself when you're given this opportunity to work in some several organizations. And we also have cases where organizations come to LSETF and say, oh, we are looking to recruit 1,000 people, we are looking to recruit 500 people. Can you get us, trainees for this role? We also do that at LSETF, where we we place people in different organizations.
That's something. That's something. So now, you hammered heavily on this training. So how do people get into this training? How easy is it to get into this training?
So once again, this is why I said you need to follow our pages. If you're following us, you know when we call for applicants. So what happens is that we usually announce when we are opening up for any of the training, for any of the sectors I've mentioned. Once you apply for that, if you qualify, you get a call back. They would interview you because we expect there's some minimum criteria. So things like if you say you want to do garment making, you expect to have eye and hand coordination, right? In order to do garment making, these are things they will look out for. And then I believe there are 2 stages to it as well. If you make it across that first stage, then you have like what we call it. So just to test your communication skills, basically. And if you make that stage as well, then you get invited for the training, and it's all free.
So there's no, so every training comes like, it's not periodical, there's no, just comes spontaneous.
Yeah, so for UNDP we have a specific time, but for USATF, it's actually urgent. As you're finishing it up, we're coming for applicants again. So there's constantly training we're starting. So just be on the lookout on our pages. I can't give you specific months that will start this thing because it's not locked at specific dates, but there's constantly trainings that are coming up.
Thank you very much. I think another thing you talked about was the legal training and all of that. So how do people access all this legal administration?
Legal clinics and HR clinics. Again, once we announce there are only legal clinic coming up next week, all you have to do is just register us online. All you have to do is register online, and I know that they do like 5 to 10 because if you want it to be one-on-one, but if you do webinar, that's when we have we can invite up to 1,000, 2,000 people, but you still open all our trainings. There's always room for Q&As. We spend almost 20 to 30 minutes on Q&As, so you can ask whatever question. But for legal clinic and HR clinic, once we're about to launch, be on the lookout on our social media pages and just register. And I believe that as long as you register, even if you don't make the particular slot right now, we can invite you for the next slot.
Thank you very much. There's been so much information that's out there. I want to ask, what are the chances of one getting an application being rejected?
Applications for what are we talking about? Is it for loan?
For loans and for grants.
Oh wow, okay. That is complicated because they can be looking for several reasons. Okay, so I'm going to say for LSETF, what we've done is our system is automated, and the way we built a system is based on our data, right? So we built it based on the data, numbers of local government areas that are voted in the loans, the various sectors, what sectors are considered high risk, low risk, numbers of employees that you have, your certificate. So all of these are information you put in our system. If you do not, if for instance your high risk sector and high risk local government, that might impact your score and you might not qualify. However, we've gotten to the point where we are now very subjective with our application, where even if you score low, you still get the opportunity for your applications to be reviewed by someone from our risk office. Now, if you're applying for, for instance, you say you're a CAC, your SME, you're not registered, you can't show any CAC documentation, that is automatic rejection. You don't fall in that category. What we may do for you is we may offer you micro enterprise loan, which you can only get 500,000 for, right? Then also your monthly turnover. If we just don't take what you state in application, we also review your bank statement. So if you say your monthly turnover is 500,000, which is what is expected for SME, and when we see your monthly turnover it's 100,000, that is also rejection for LSETF. So these are little things we look at, or your guarantor issue. You have guarantors, that maybe you don't, you can't bring up, you can't get anyone to guarantee your loans even after they've been approved, or when we got to your business, what you said you do is not what you actually do. You don't have stock, your business is being run down. These are little things that would definitely lead to a rejection or decline.
Thank you. Can you please speak more on the high risk sectors? Does that imply certain business areas?
Certain business areas, but like I said, so because it's automated, the system has been developed that way to look at information like that, right? But one of the things we've now pushed for, like for instance, if you say food is considered high risk, right? But what we've now pushed for is, even though it's high risk, we're not just dependent on just automated process alone. We now get our risk officers to still look at your application, review your documents, and if they believe that you can actually afford to pay back the loan, your affordability score is reasonable, then you will still have high chances of actually
Okay, please, I'd like to encourage each and every one of us here, if you haven't registered your business with the CAC, you can see that a lot of opportunities are hinged around that. So please, I'll encourage you to go ahead and register your business with the Corporate Affairs Commission. It's pretty easy. You can do that by yourself on their website. Okay, a true life scenario where someone states Global Memorial Hall as his operational center, his business address, and then say for some reason or the other he loses tenancy of the place, and then the information that was given to the LSETF was the address of the Global Memorial Hall. So in a situation where one has to relocate his or her business, will that pose a threat, or that?
So before the BDSPs go, they have to call you because you have to be there. So if I'm a business owner and I'm at a Global Memorial Hall, you get a phone call from the BDSPs. They'll introduce themselves. You're coming to verify your business or LSETF. So at that point, if you're not on that address anymore, you have to obviously notify them, and they will obviously notify us. So we know we can't just turn up. Just like we don't turn up at businesses like that because they need to reach you as well. They're going to speak to you. They're going to ask you questions.
All right. Thank you very much. At this point, I think we can entertain a few questions.
Thank you, ma'am, for speaking with us today. While you were talking, I was just going through my dashboard, and I've been applying for since 2021, May, and I couldn't get anything. I have about 15 applications, about 7 showing pending, and 3 just showing processing. I was doing an exhibition in Abuja, a transport hotel, and I had one of the directors meeting. I said, wow, I wish you were in Lagos so that I supported that. Do that. We started my business in Lagos, and I've been applying for She gave me a card, she I said, like I said, all I had someone as in charge of the application. I kept trying to follow up, even the emails, nothing is coming through.
Okay, so sorry, you've been applying for what? You have 10 applications? LSETF?
Yes, it's because the first one, I applied for Lagos State grants. Then I applied for EA or gas. This is how someone came to my site because I showed everything you do. We are generating biogas. And I said, give back to me. Later they say, they are not doing biogas for now.
So that, yes, which other one?
Yeah, the other application, since I was not getting a response, and I met the director in Abuja said I should apply for it. So I thought I applied the last one, but then still because if I provide all my Astra, all my account details, we talk about that Lagos government for 2 years. Provided all these documentations, still showing pending and not gotten any.
Okay, so first, I think one person mistake there is, because now you have 2 applications of the same company. for Lagos Cares, right?
Yes, I cancelled it.
Did you cancel the previous one?
Yes, I cancelled it.
Okay.
I go to the person, I contacted someone, and I told the person, okay, I'll cancel it. Say it was a mistake. I cancelled
When
it.
did you apply for the second one?
This was on the August 11.
They'll get back to you. That's still quite early. So again, grants, trust me, we have a lot of grants that come in. So at August, we're in September, they'll get back to you shortly. Trust me, you hear from them. We have for you, which I don't know how big your business is, will be the micro enterprise startup. And that is just maximum of 250,000 euro. But what I would say is, since you sound like a registered company, you registered with CAC, and you registered in January, by January next year, you qualify for 5 million. So you can start up with 250 and then, or wait till next year January. Because what is expected is you must at least have been in business for 1 year. And it's not 1 year for you yet, which is why I said the only category you fall under is micro enterprise startup. So you're just starting up your business. So that would give you a maximum of 250,000. Or you can actually apply for micro enterprise. You have your business account, right? And so that we usually just ask for maximum of 3 months bank statements, and that is 500,000. So I think maybe try micro enterprise startup first.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you so much. That's the last question. Sorry, we're out of time. That's the last question. Okay.
It's a lady.
So you're the first lady.
You can have that.
We'll make an exception.
Thank you so much, Madam. Good morning, everyone. My name is Martina Adewumi. I want to ask, what would be the worst case scenario if you can't get back your loan? You know, in case of death, God forbid, what would you do? You know, I'm not sure you can take on it. God forbid, I'm just trying to check what would happen.
I'm not talking about hope for recovery. But recovery will come for you.
Recovery officer will come after you, that's just it. I mean, you know, it all depends. I mean, I have cases where personally some people approach me as well, and I've tried to also speak to the recovery team. But don't forget that everybody has their own happening now. Everybody's trying to ensure that our sales fees are 10%. We need this money to keep coming back. It doesn't come back, and how do we need to spread it across the entire Lagos state? So what I think will happen is the government will continue to follow up. Nobody is going to carry anybody to jail or anything like that. But the rest assured they will be turning off a lot. And they will be in your face, that's what I can say.
There's a difference between repayment schedules for different levels of the loans.
Okay, so thank you for that question. So when I was talking about giving the overview, you're supposed to be paying immediately 1 month after. The only exception that we have is for micro enterprise startup, and that's because you're just starting your business. So you get 1 month moratorium. That's it.
Alright, the training, is the training important for all forms of loan applications? Right. Training, I can see here that one of your cover training your applicants.
So there's training, capacity training, like we have employability.
Is it compulsory for every type of loan application?
So it's not compulsory, but I believe that everybody in the room, and I give myself and I use myself as a good example, I think we should also enjoy the opportunity. It's free. So all these trainings are free. We also started the incubation and acceleration program in partnership with Google and EDC. There's several modules, exposure, community, networking that you'll be exposed to. I think whether it's mandatory or not, we should all be at that stage where we should be curious to want to learn, you know? We should be curious enough to want to scale up our businesses. As of today, we have over 41 million MSMEs in Nigeria. And out of that 41 plus million businesses in Nigeria, only 73,000 plus is considered SMEs. So when you think about it, we have to be able, we need to get a lot more people across into the SME sector. We need to scale our businesses. We need to think of how can I scale my business, how can I expand, what can I do right? And you can only learn all these things from training, from getting involved or getting yourself registered with all our training, listening to people that have successfully done this and scaled up their businesses, being in the room with people you can network with, opportunities where you can speak to people and hear about other places where you can pitch for your businesses or even get loans and grants like this. There's so many opportunities in Nigeria for MSMEs. It's unbelievable. Now, I can tell you for a fact, there are loads of opportunities, even starting from CBN, single-digit loans, trainings, So it's not compulsory, but I think you should get in there. I'm registered, I'm doing my work, and I'm listening to some of this master classes when you're going on as well. So
Thank you very much, ma. Can we put our hands together for her? Thank you so much, ma. That's the best panel session.